Welcome to today's podcast episode, everyone. I've got a very exciting guest for you guys. For those of you just joining the podcast, we're E.N.G Media, and today I have Lesley with me, founding member of Chargeblast. So, Lesley, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Tyson.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited to dive into not only all the awesome stuff that Charge Blast is working on, but also your journey as a founding member and head of partnerships at the company as well. I know you mentioned last time we talked that you guys have basically gone from, a bootstrap startup to over $5 billion of protected transactions in just little under 2 years. So maybe we can start there. Like, would you mind maybe breaking down a little bit about what Charge Blast does and really how you guys have gotten to this point?
Sure, absolutely. So I always consider this like a very fortunate journey for myself. We're actually over 2 years now. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
I joined like almost like over a year from the inception of Chargeblast. So when I first joined, we were protecting around 2,000 active merchants.
Oh,
And
wow.
now we're at over 5,000. And from protecting $2 billion in annual transaction volume, now we're actually at over $5 billion in annual transaction volume.
Nice.
And we have a very amazing team who are based in New York, in Boston, in Brazil,
Oh,
in
wow.
Philippines. And then it's just a very great experience working with people from very different expertise, but all have that drive to make
Yeah.
sure that we grind really hard together and then we achieve like this goal. So for Charge Blast, what we do is that we really focus on the chargeback mitigation side. We try to reduce merchants' chargeback rate to nearly zero. This
Sure.
is actually a very interesting subject that I was not that like familiar with before I
Sure.
joined Charge Blast, because people know processing. A lot of people know processing, but chargeback prevention is such like an invisible, like almost from the outside, but so critical for the merchants. We were a merchant first, and then we had the pain of being a subscription model business and everything was great, but then like still we got the chargeback sometimes because of friendly fraud. And then we
Oh, wow.
wanted to like reduce that chargeback rate. And that's how we got inspired and really wanted to make this fully automated solution that other merchants can be benefited from.
100%. I appreciate you sharing that background as well. And I think as you mentioned, you know, chargebacks weren't necessarily something that I was too familiar with as well, kind of as an outsider looking in. But obviously, as you mentioned, it's a huge problem that merchants are dealing with. So it's awesome to see, how you guys have been able to find a way to provide value. I know you being head of partnerships, you've established really strong partnerships with other merchants in your guys' industry, such as Shopify and Stripe as well. So could you maybe break down the importance of partnering up with some of these other merchants and really how that's helped you guys scale?
Yeah, I really appreciate this question because just from my own perspective, partnership is such a huge part if someone wants to scale up their business. And I usually take this integration first approach to make sure like a lot of processors, payment orchestrators, subscription management platforms, really like anyone that my merchants are using. So I
Uh-huh.
can like build a partnership with them. So we recently launched our official announcement on the partnerships with Air Wallets, with Adyen, with Check. They're
Nice.
all like very amazing processors who span
Uh,
like all over the world. So that also means like we have a wider reach to help merchants who have that issues. Cause I think sometimes like even myself, I'm surprised to learn that many people didn't know that this could be like a wholly like automated process. Many
yeah,
people are still managing chargebacks manually. And
gotcha.
with these partnerships, we'll be able to provide like our solution to more people and then
Yeah.
see they really benefit from our solution and grow their business without the chargeback concerns. And I think like just like my personal approach on choosing processors,
Uh-huh.
it's also like choosing like the right place and then like see like the processors who truly share the value of putting technology first and
Yeah.
also merchant first. And that just makes everything easier.
100%. No, I think that's interesting as well. And you mentioned that, people have been manually handling the process of chargebacks overall. Is that the merchants that have been manually handling that process or like actual businesses, would you say?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, like for our terms, usually merchants are say like they're someone who have their own business and they probably are processing online. And then like the other ones, they might be payment service providers like Stripe, Shopify, Adyen. So when we help the merchants to automate the process, I would say we're helping both of them, right? So we help the
Gotcha.
partners who don't focus on chargeback mitigation to
Mhm.
have an automated approach. And we help the merchants who can actually reduce a lot of hack on and then like
Yeah,
reallocate them to higher ROI functions. So like those people can work on something else that doesn't need to like have like everything handled manually, like chargeback management. Yes.
absolutely. No, and I appreciate you breaking that down a little bit deeper for me. And you mentioned that like automation changes the game for business processing at scale. So essentially, you're helping these merchants scale down the amount of headcount that they really need in order to be able to process more payments. Would you say, and charge like handle the chargeback mitigation as well?
Yeah. I would just like rephrase that a little bit because I mentioned like reducing headcounts, but sometimes those people could be reallocated to like other functions, right?
Gotcha.
It's just like on this particular function right now, it could be fully automated. So I would
Uh-huh.
say it's like it definitely reduced a lot of pain for the merchant. So because it's not a very pleasant experience to get charged back when your product's fine. And then just like having this process in place will just enable everyone to focus on the growth rather than chargeback management.
100%.
And then we can focus on that because that's what we do.
Absolutely. I appreciate you covering that for me as well and making sure we're on the same page there. And for the audience, I think what would really drive it home is maybe covering a specific use case, like a successful use case where you and your partners as well, have been able to leverage all the awesome stuff that Chargeblast can really do. So would you mind maybe sharing a real example? We don't have to say the company's name or give away too much of the secret sauce, but maybe how you guys really came in and provided a solution in mitigating some of those chargebacks that you mentioned?
Yeah, happy to. So, one of our marketplace merchants who joined us like quite early on, one of their founders met our founder Chi and CEO. He came to like Chi at the conference and then like he was like, I just wanted to automate everything. And that was his only ask. So we actually built one of the processor integration because of this partnership. And
Mhm.
then we deliver exactly what they asked for. They used to have like 5 full-time employees who were managing chargebacks like manually.
Oh, wow.
And now those people are all like reallocated to other functions. So that's why I mentioned earlier, sometimes it doesn't like actually reduce the head count, but it just like
100%.
makes sure people are working on things that deliver higher value compared to this could be
Absolutely.
completely outsourced. And they were processing around like $1 billion annually at that moment. And then like they do grow really fast. And
Uh,
we have a really good partnership with them. They have a really amazing team. And they're just really glad to see how we were able to contribute so positively in their growth.
100%. No, that is super awesome. And it's interesting as well that you mentioned that the CEO of Chargeblast and the marketplace that you guys are working with met at an in-person conference. From a partnership standpoint, a lot of these is, I guess, relationships that you've established with these awesome companies, have they come from like in-person networking and conferences specifically, or have they been something that you've been able to develop just straight from, maybe social media and your guys' network online?
Yeah. So for me, I think I like to do like partnerships a little more creatively. I like finding out different ways to find people who align with my value. We definitely do a lot of like outbound. We got a lot of inbound, like from both like just the merchant side and the partner side.
Sure.
But also I enjoy in-person business development. So we go
Yeah.
to a lot of conferences. And when I see like, for example, like an AI company who is like growing really fast, and from my merchant base, I know this is like one of our perfect ICP because
Uh-huh.
AI companies, a lot of them, they have subscription model and they really focus on the technology, which is
Uh-huh.
true for us too. So I would reach out and then I would see like if they can, maybe we can meet up for coffee. We can just like talk in person or we can do
Okay.
like a virtual chat first. And I travel a lot. So when I'm like, say, I'll be in London next month and then I actually
Uh-huh.
schedule like a lunch with one of our partners too that we haven't
Oh,
got
nice.
to meet each other in person. I think like my principle is that I wanted
Uh,
to I wanted to let people see like how I do things and who I
yeah.
am. And I think in person creates that kind of like connections
Yeah.
that virtual probably wouldn't be able to at the current moment.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And I think that the solution that you guys are providing, might need a little bit more hands-on guidance and understanding of really the value that you guys are providing for, merchants and for these businesses that are processing, payments. So it's interesting to hear that you're actually leveraging in-person networking kind of in the face of where everybody is almost trying to automate their outreach and like scale the way that they network with AI and automation 100%.
Yeah.
But, and kind of moving to the next topic as well, I wanted to cover because, we have a lot of AI companies that come on our podcast specifically. So maybe if there's anybody that want to connect with you, I know you mentioned you're traveling a lot, but are you based out of New York? Is that right?
Yes, I'm based in New York, and our partnerships team are some of them are based in New York, but then we also have folks who are based in the Philippines who are supporting the partnerships
Oh,
team too.
nice.
So even when I'm traveling, like we definitely have team members who can meet up with those AI companies you mentioned, and it doesn't even have to be AI specific. It's just like anyone who process online using credit card will be able to help them.
100%. No, and that is super awesome. And but really, I wanted to ask you as well, when it comes to Charge Blast, do you guys have any new initiatives that you're planning on rolling out in the next 6 to 12 months? Like any specific things you're doing around your guys' technology and with your automation? Any new partnerships that you guys will be announcing? Maybe something that we can cover on this podcast?
Yeah, I can only speak on my behalf on that. For myself, like we're actually, I'm gonna speak at Marketplace Risk really soon
Oh, nice.
with a senior applied scientist of payment trust and safety from Etsy.
Oh,
So that's like something really excites me because we really prepared for this panel. Like it's gonna be like a 30 minutes thing, and then we looked into because marketplaces they have this like unique challenge of buyer and also seller risk. So it's like
mm,
two sides. It's not just like one I'm selling like say phone cases on
yeah,
Shopify. Like that's only just like more on the buyer side. But then also there's like for someone as big as Etsy, they might be handling like stuff on the seller side too. So like
sure.
we really me and my business partner at this like panel, we're just like doing research and then see how we can like come together and provide like a very holistic approach to
Yeah.
share with other marketplaces who are attending that conference in New York next month.
Absolutely. No, that'll be super, super interesting as well. And I know that I recently had somebody on the podcast, his name is Matthew. He's the CEO of a company called Uprank specifically. And essentially what they do is they're a marketplace between, software companies and also restaurants that need like POS systems specifically.
Oh, I see.
Are you guys, working with any kind of marketplaces or any type of, software companies, like maybe relationships that you've built through networking in person? But have you heard of, I guess, anything like that or worked with any of those types of marketplaces?
Yeah, we actually work with a lot of marketplaces.
No.
That's also the reason that I'll be attending this conference.
Oh, no.
We don't so usually for chargeback mitigation, we cannot like really help on the POS machines.
Mhm.
It's like it usually has to be like say if they're like virtually processing and it's like credit cards and stuff like online. But for the marketplaces that we work with, there are actually a lot of folks who are from the creator economy. And there's like a
Okay.
lot of like streaming stuff that they do. And it's just something that interests me personally too, like to see how we can help like for such like a expensive and like huge market over there. And we also work with marketplaces who do like really like anything, like say like traveling stuff, or if they do like a bunch of different coupons for like just like lifestyle and everything.
100%. No, that is super awesome as well. And I know that, you guys are kind of at the point where you're scaling rapidly, from everything that we've covered so far. And could you maybe speak to, as you guys continue to build new partnerships? I know last time we talked, you mentioned the importance of building partnerships that put like the merchants first specifically. So whether you're out there partnering with, different marketplaces or whatever the case is, like why is that so important for Charge Blast?
Yeah. So I think for really a few reasons. The first one is that we were merchant, right? If we weren't actually pained by this situation, we wouldn't get inspired. So I think
Mm,
it's very important to remember like, where you come from, really.
yeah,
So that's like how we got inspired and we built everything. So we would always make sure that we have this mindset to put merchants first because without merchants, we don't have a business. It's very simple. And then on the second part about why that's an important principle to build partnerships for myself,
mhm,
like I personally believe, say for example, Tyson, you and me, like if we don't like agree on like the direction, which is south, which is north, it's very difficult to go in the same directions. So like, yeah, so having that value alignment in place will make everything easier. Like it will be more efficient and then like there would be like much lower communication cost. And then I can feel very, very comfortable and reassured when I hand over my merchant who needs processing to my partner because I know they would actually take care of my merchant.
100%. No, I mean, that makes perfect sense from the way that you broke it down as well, and I know that you mentioned your team as well, like, you guys have well over 50 employees up to this point, and so, clearly, I think people anybody who's watching the podcast, they can see why you're a valuable member on the partnership side just from everything we've covered specifically. But could you maybe speak to, like, the talent and really what your guys' CEO is bringing to Chargeblast and the actual value and impact that you're driving to your end customers?
Yeah. So I think for our team, we do share like very similar value, even though like we have offices like all
Uh-huh.
over the world. She is like a wonderful, like one of the most like wonderful operators that I have ever seen.
Uh-huh.
And then we have a support team who is based in Philippines and they deliver like 24/7 customer support.
Right.
That's actually quite unique in the industry
Right.
because a lot of people, when they come to you with like chargeback issues, they actually come to you with anxiety because it's like, this is their business.
Right.
They need to process. And then with our support team who are very technical and they do care about the business. So sometimes they're very proactive. And then for us, we value transparency and like internal communication. So for example, if you're my merchant and you submit a ticket from like the live chat, which we also offer in a dashboard, I'll be able to see everything in my Slack channel.
Oh,
And
wow.
then like, so if there's any escalated situation, like other founders are very hands-on in our company.
Mhm.
So like they will actually like they will jump in and they will see like, oh, so how do we delegate this process better? And how do we make it like more efficient? So overall, like we actually so I went to Sigma Asia like maybe 2 months ago.
Uh-huh.
And then we had this like picture of like all of our support team here.
Oh,
And I
wow.
have it, like, by my computer. It's actually really, really nice to see, like,
Absolutely.
everyone face to face, which proves to my point, like, earlier too. Like, I think whoever are trying to build something together, it's very important to, like, see who you're partnering with.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you know their style, and then you know, like, who they are as humans, and then you can build everything, like, from the ground up, like, way faster.
100%. Yeah, and I think that by the way, too, I'll be sure to put that picture that you sent hopefully, you could send that over to me, and I'll include it in
Yeah, I can
the
send that
LinkedIn
picture to you.
article. It sounds like you guys just have a really solid team, and, you guys obviously are gonna be growing exponentially within the next 6 to 12 months just based off of, like, the trajectory and historically speaking of what you guys have done over the past 2 years. So I think that that's interesting. Are you guys looking to accomplish any specific missions? I know that you mentioned that you'll be speaking on a at a panel, coming up here soon as well, but just overall as a team, like, in terms of growth, like, are there any specific measurable goals that you guys are really looking to tackle maybe by the end of this year?
Yeah. So we're currently the fifth biggest alerts provider,
Oh,
and
nice.
we're actually on track to like be one of like the best alerts provider,
Nice.
like in terms of the volume, by the end of the year too. But there are just like so many surprises I don't want to spoil. But for those who are interested, you guys should like follow our LinkedIn page and also like our team's pages, and then
Yeah.
you'll like be able to explore a lot of things very soon.
Awesome. That's super exciting. And I'll be sure to include links in the description to your guys' LinkedIn profiles as well as the website. I know that I'll be checking out all the awesome stuff that you guys are working on, and I highly recommend that the audience does so as well. But Leslie, I just wanted to tell you thank you so much for coming on the podcast today and sharing your insights and letting the audience and bringing awareness to everything that Charge Blast is working on.
Thank you so much, Tyson.
Absolutely. And really, the one last thing that I wanna ask you is there one message or something specifically that maybe you want your partners to know or your customers or anybody to know, I guess, specifically about Charge Blast and really, like, what you guys are looking to accomplish?
That's a really good question. So I think something I would love to share with our partners and merchants, no matter it's like the ones that we currently have or the ones we'll have in the future, is that I think it's an extraordinary time to build something like from the ground up right now because of all the AI development and all like how fast growing the fintech industry is. And then so like I'm really grateful that for ChargeBlast we got to protect you guys on the revenue side and then you can just really focus on like how do I fulfill my dream, right? How do I build this thing that I have always wanted without worrying about that? Like we got you covered. That's something I would love to share with everyone who want to work with us.
100%. Yeah. So when it comes to revenue, you know that Chargeblast will have it handled, and then founders and people with missions and visions that they're really going after are able to tackle that all together. So, if anybody has questions for Leslie or wants to learn a little bit more about Chargeblast, feel free to comment on this video if you see it on YouTube, or comment on the post if you see them on LinkedIn. And really, other than that, we will catch you guys in the next video.
Awesome. Thank you.